All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 7 o'clock. It is Friday, September 1st, 2023. I'll read the land acknowledgement. The City of Thorold is situated on treaty land. The land is steeped in rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattawin-Donrock, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the First Nation. There are many nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Islands that live and work in Niagara today. The City of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past, present, in promoting wise stewardship of the land in which we live. Are there any declarations of interest? I see none. The adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda? Mr. Woods and Mr. Atkinson. So I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. We're going to adopt the minutes from the previous meeting. Can I get a mover and seconder to adopt the minutes? Mr. Ishwat and Joe, Mr. Atkinson. All in favor? Oppose? All right. Correspondence. Is there any correspondence? I'm looking to you, Justin.
No, there's no correspondence.
Okay. So we have 4 business items for the committee. The first one is resolution of the Active Transportation Subcommittee. Justin, I'm going to call on you.
So yeah, it's just there for your information that they passed that resolution, and it's just being brought here so that you are made aware of to discuss or not.
Okay. So what was the active transportation subcommittee? What was the resolution from them?
So the information was in the agenda. Let me just pop it up.
Is that the report from EXP?
Hold on. So they recommend the approval of the off-leash dog park is what they recommended it. And since you're the main committee of the subcommittee, it's just being brought to you to made you aware of. You can do with it or not, anything. Really.
No, that's fine. We'll go on to 7.2. We have Beaver Dam's Park swing set. This was my point I brought up just after being in the park the whole summer. We have this brand new park. We have a brand new, facility. There's the slides, the monkey bars. There's a wheelchair accessibility swing. There's a special needs swing, a baby swing, and a bench swing. But we still don't have regular swings for kids to play on. And every time I'm in there, half the kids are playing on the wheelchair. Half the kids are strapped into the special needs ones. And I'm thinking just because there's no actual real swing set for the kids to enjoy. There used to be one, and it was removed when they renovated the park. Now, I don't know if they still have the swing set, maybe at the Public Works Department, and they could reassemble it. But I would like to make a motion that we ask council to look into this and even provide a new swing set in the park just to keep the kids, there's lineups for the swings. But so
if you want, I could provide a little clarification on that too. We did.
Thanks, Jacob.
Hi, everybody. We did look into to see if the previous swing set was around, and when the previous people that were doing the construction in the park were doing the renovations to the park, they did cut up the old swing set in the process of removing it. So there is no existing swing set anymore previously. Just to let you know exactly what happened with that.
Okay. So I'd still like to make the motion of directing council to, put a new swing set into the park that's provided for just a regular swing set.
Could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Can we put it and ask council to consider it at budget time? That's coming up soon.
Yeah.
And then, because I think it needs a soft landing and there's more to it than just a swing. So, and there was other ideas for that park. I don't know when they're happening or if they are, but splash pads and stuff. So
Okay.
if we could put it in as a budget consideration, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yep. Would that consideration take into account the same base that's used in the park? It wouldn't be gravel or mulch. It would be the same sort of foam pad that's gone down under the rest of it. I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that would be it.
That's part of our park, the design that we have now. So that's why I'm saying if it was a budget item that, I think that would be a good way to go.
Okay. All right. So does anyone have anything to add to that? Robert, I see you with your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to ask the question. I was over at the park looking at it over the summer, and I noticed underneath the wheelchair swing, or the handicap swing, the entire underneath has been just torn apart.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's by the swing. The design of the swing is causing the problem. Now, do you know if the city has addressed that problem? And if they have, what are they doing about that? Is this going to be a repair job every year?
I can't answer that. I see Jacob with his hand up, but I could
Yeah,
comment.
I may help speak to that as well too. So the reason, to my understanding, why underneath the soft landing of the accessible swing had begun to be ripped up is at one point when the manufacturer originally had installed it, some of the bolts were not properly installed on the top. So that did allow the one side of the swing to become loose and drop down a little bit. So it wasn't swinging perfectly parallel to the ground, basically allowing part of the bottom of the swing to drop into it. So they've since addressed the issue with the bolts. So it's no longer scraping at the bottom underneath anymore, but they still do need to come back and fully finish repairing the rubber under the swing. So it's not getting any worse, but it obviously with a little bit that is up there, they do need to finish addressing that part.
Okay.
And yeah, just a installation issue that's being repaired on that.
Okay. Is there anything further we want to add to the motion? Okay, can I get a mover, Mr. Woods, and a seconder, Mr. Atkinson? All in favor? And opposed? Looks like it's carried. Okay. Next one, again, I brought up myself, 7.3 is C, Gross Park signage. We did briefly discuss this prior to the meeting starting. As of right now, when you come into the park, there's no sign that tells you which field is field 1 or field 2, and it gets very confusing when you have 8 teams playing on a Tuesday night at 6, and then you have 8 more teams coming in at 7. And unless your coach knows where the field is and they're standing next to it, no one's going to be able to find where they're going, because the only sign we have is a sign that faces the building, which is an entrance that nobody typically uses because they all park at St. Charles or on the adjacent streets. So my recommendation is just making a motion to recommend that council adds additional signs to each gate, just with a 1 and a field 1, field 2, and that's it. Like, it can be any kind of signage as long as there's something. Jacob, you have your hand up?
Yeah, just to bring up to speed as well, too, myself and Dave Baldoni have had some discussions on that.
Okay.
Basically, we thought maybe a potential solution to that would also be to mirror the sign that's on the opposite side of the field, close to the clubhouse. There's another light stand in the middle of basically where the 2 teams, if there was 2 games going on at the same time, would kind of come in through. So we thought maybe rather than on every gate, it might also be suitable to put a sign on the opposite side on the light pole as well, just pointing to delineate field 1 and field 2. And that's something we could address fairly quickly, getting the sign made locally and get that up.
Yeah, it sounds like an inexpensive fix for the amount of people you see running across the field to the other side to look at the light pole, and then run back to tell their parents where they're playing. It would smooth things up, especially if you have, let's say you have 150 kids there and they have 2 parents for each kid. You can imagine how many people are in that park on a Tuesday night. It's a lot. It is,
Right.
it
And we
is
thought
a
too, if we put
lot of kids and people.
Light pole opposite the clubhouse, that maybe we could put a little bit larger of a sign too, and then it would be kind of noticeable when you're coming in, rather than if it was on each gate. Maybe that might be confusing if you didn't come in through that gate to see exactly where it was pointing to.
Perfect. All right. So do we have to make a motion for this, or this is something already in discussion and it's going to be it sounds like it's already going to be handled.
Yeah, that's already in discussion, and we figured after this meeting that we could go and get it ordered and installed shortly. Just be waiting for it to finish at the print shop, basically.
All right. I guess we can, I don't guess we don't have to vote on that. We can just leave that as a mute point. What's that? Yes, thank you. I may or may not have mentioned that to a few counselors and people throughout the summer, so. Yes, okay, we have one last point. We have item 7.4, it's recommendations from the website enhancement working group. So I'm gonna leave this, I'm gonna direct this to Jeff and Ian. Ian's gonna read us what he's prepared throughout the summer, working hard throughout the whole summer to bring us up to speed here, Ian.
All right, thank you, Chair. Just to kind of make a few points before we start, Jeff has created a report that was shared with everyone prior to the meeting. Feel free to look through that, and if you have any questions, you can shoot them our way. We're happy to answer anything. What we've created for today's meeting is kind of just a one-page top 5, really in no adjacent order, of insufficient issues that we have found with our city's website. So just to go through it, website deficiencies that we've found were insufficient promotion of parks and trails in the Thorold and Emrons, need for a refresh as indicated in report link audit, lacking an engagement platform, not making use of website analytics to better understand users, lack of systematic policies, procedures to keep content up to date. So some of the recommendations that we have made to the city, and Jeff's had meetings with them as well, and we're all in kind of talking format and going forward. So we're looking to enhance promotion of parks, trails, and cycling as described in the report. Some of the issues we have, we just want to emulate other Niagara municipalities in promoting both local and regional parks, trails, and cycling opportunities. Just looking through the other cities, we've noticed the differences that they all have. So for need for a refresh, we have addressed the deficiencies flagged in the report's link audit. So we want to rid the website of broken, redundant, or non-user-friendly links. Going through that, we've just noticed that some of them kind of link you back to the exact same page you were already on, so there's no point in even having those links. So for the engagement platform, we want to provide more opportunity for dialogue with citizens on the city website. So we want to consider approaches used in other Niagara cities and develop a tailor-made for Thorold engagement platform, something you can go onto the city's website and bring up opportunities to have that discussion. For website analytics, for better understanding users, we're going to use the data to better understand the website's users' navigation experience and information needs, and use this understanding to enhance the website content. So to use website analytics to systematically establish baseline and regularly monitor trends in parks, trails, and recreation use. So for the policies and procedures, what we noticed was formalized website policies and procedures to maintain a high standard of website content. So we want to apply existing policies and procedures annually to keep content up to date and ensure that the information needs of website users are being met. So those are kind of the top things that we found going through the website throughout the summer. So if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to ask them, but please refer to the accompanying report, which details the need for these enhancements and provides a rationale for recommendations. Thank you.
Could I just add, thank you, Ian, that was a perfect summary. So, yeah, absolutely. You just received the report this afternoon as well. So our suggestion is you take some time to read the report, give some thought to the recommendations, and the hope is that when we meet as a committee in October, that we have endorsement from the committee to move this to council, because these recommendations would obviously have to be implemented by city staff. So that's what we're aiming for, and in the coming weeks, as Ian said, if you have some concerns or questions, by all means reach out to either of us, and we'll do our best to address your concerns. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't. Does anyone have any questions or recommendations? I'm sure. I'm sure. I myself, I have it in front of me, but I've yet to been able to digest the entire thing. So, does anyone?
Could I ask a question, Kieran?
Yeah, go for it, Ken.
Sure. Mr. Chair, sorry about that.
That's-
So how was your conversations with city staff? Receptive? Was it a good experience?
Exceptionally good experience.
Good.
They were very supportive. I mean, Megan makes the good point that presently she's a team of one. And while they are fully committed to enhancing website content, it can be challenging for them right now, given all their priorities and what have you. So they're fully supportive of our work. And you'll find when you go through the report, in no way are we setting timelines on any of this. We have already been successful in having them make a few minor changes, and as time permits, we would like more changes to be made. And if that's the case, we feel that the effort's been worthwhile. Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent. Good news. Thank you.
Sounds like it's things that you can sort of piecemeal, and they can just do things.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. And by being a team of one, you don't have anyone sort of giving you a lot of instructions or directions if you're there by yourself. I know the feeling, because you can read over the same piece of paper 15 times, and eventually you give it to someone else and they find 10 spelling mistakes. So it's one of those things, if you have no one watching over you, you don't know if you're doing anything wrong. So that's great. So is there any other recommendations, questions, discussion? If not, I'm going to open it up to the floor here for anyone for like a round table. If there's anything throughout the summer you saw, or something that you think that we're going to, need in the next couple of coming months. I saw you through your hand there, Joe. Go ahead.
Excuse me. I'm not just sure whether it's a city thing or like who generally looks after the boardwalk over at Lake Gibson.
Most.
I walked it with my 6-year-old grandson earlier this week, and I admit it's the first time I've been out on it in probably a couple of years. And there's a lot of the middle rails missing. Now, I don't know whether it's vandalism, rot, or what, but there are enough of them missing. I kind of hustled them off there because if it was rot, I wasn't just sure how safe the darn thing was.
I think Jacob can speak.
I don't know whether that's something the city looks after or I think it's still in existence, the committee that looks after Melchport Park.
Jacob, you see it with your hand up.
Yeah, I could speak to that. That was recently vandalized. It was, I believe, early last weekend that happened. So there are some repairs that have already been made since then. And I believe a few more materials that were ordered in order to finish the repairs, because yes, there was some vandalism that did occur there.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, actually, I'm glad to hear it was vandalism, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, be a little more
As
worrisome
opposed
if it was
to
not.
pieces just falling off at random. Anyway, thank you. Okay.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Jacob. Is there anything else? Anyone have anything that they experienced over the summer that might have been good, bad?
Mr. Chair, could I ask one more question or put one more thing in?
Go for it, Ken.
Could our committee possibly look, it's on the City of Welland's website, and it's this, I've had a lot of dog owners ask me about it. It says year-end swim for dogs. It's a big dog and a small dog. It's about 3 hours, and it seems to have a really big following in Welland. And just take a look at it, and I'd love the committee's opinion on what they think about it, maybe at the next meeting or two.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun. It sounds like be a fun time.
Yeah. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. All right. Is there any further questions, comments? All right. Well, our next meeting is Monday, October 2nd at 7 p.m. And being there's no further business, the meeting will be adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good long weekend.
Thanks.